wait in a minute or two. When I give you thumbs up, then I know we'll be live.
Yeah, okay.
I think all this is going to go live now.
Yeah.
It just takes a while for it to buffer up
that's fine.
through the servers, the YouTube servers, and then for it to be physically live.
We're going international.
We're going worldwide. Purely,
Excellent.
Around the globe. No pressure for you, buddy.
Don't worry, I'm used to it. I'm used to people shoving a camera in my face sometimes.
Okay, buddy, whenever you're
ready.
Can you start? You have to start.
Hello everyone, Sat Sri Akal. So today we're going to be talking about Ayurveda. I've got 1 hour to pack 5,000 years worth of knowledge in. So just bear with me if things don't quite make sense, just go with it. Sometimes these things take a while to sink into the mind. So I'm Harry. I've been practicing Ayurveda for 4 years now. So I started in 2021. Before that, I was working for Tesco as a produce buyer. So I've gone from buying blueberries and strawberries for thousands of stores in the UK to helping people on a one-to-one basis transform their health through diet, lifestyle, and herbs and things. So towards the end, I've made some herbal remedies, and we'll go through them, and you can taste them as well. And then I've got recipes online as well, so you feel free to have a look at my website afterwards. My website's on the leaflet there. So we'll look at what is Ayurveda. The doshas forms the basis of Ayurveda and understanding who we are physically and psychologically. We'll look at the importance of gut health and why that's really, really important for everything. It's the basis of health, and any disorder that we've got, everything starts with the gut, and Western science and research is backing that up. And then as I said, I've got some autumn and winter remedies for us to try. And so just to let you know, this isn't to replace any medical advice that you might get elsewhere. This is all complementary, and everything I share is just for information purposes and to expand our own knowledge about ourselves and who we are and how we can really look after ourselves through doing things at home and lifestyle measures. And if you do need help, if you do have a health concern, please see the appropriate practitioner. You've got my contact details there, so I can see people for one-to-ones. I do online consultations and at Stillhouse Clinic in Egham, so not too far from here. So what is Ayurveda? So it's a timeless system of self-healing. If we understand who we are, what we're made up of, we know the right tools through diet and lifestyle to be able to balance ourselves again. It's timeless. It's been written down 5,000 years ago, but what they wrote down 5,000 years ago still applies today. And sometimes when I read the text, I'm like, how on earth did they know this stuff 5,000 years ago? So it's knowledge there that is within all of us, and it's part of my job to help unlock it for other people. It's universal, it applies to anyone, doesn't matter your religion, your color, your caste, your creed, what country you live in. Ayurveda says, you have to adapt what it says in the text to the time and the culture and the place and the people that we're helping. So it doesn't exclude anyone. It's a universal healthcare system for everyone. One of the oldest systems of medicine, along with Chinese medicine. Obviously, I don't need to tell this audience, it's originated from India and the South India. And it's all about identifying the correct diet and lifestyle practices to be able to bring us back to balance. And it's highly individualized. So there's no blanket advice that I can give to anyone. And if somebody asks me a question, and I'm welcome for questions, first thing I always say is, it depends. Because advice I give to one person with similar signs and symptoms might be completely different to the person sitting next to them, because they're made up differently. And it's based on the three-doshic system, so we'll have a look at that now. So the doshas, so they're bioenergetic characteristics. The easiest way to describe them is kind of like mind-body types, and we'll go through 3 of them in a moment. And they're formed from the base pairs of elements. So if you look on the right-hand side, so you've got Vata, which is made up of ether and air, Pitta, which is made up of fire and water, and Kapha, which is made up of water and earth. Now, that probably doesn't mean much to anyone sitting in this room, and it's quite abstract. Ayurveda is really, before we go into that actually, so we have all 3 doshas in us, but all in varying proportions. So each of us has Vata, Pitta, Kapha. If we don't, then we're not human, and we can't be here. We can't sustain ourselves in this world. So you can have single doshik, which is Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So these three are the dominant doshas within someone. We can be dual, so Vata, Pitta, Pitta, Kapha, and Kapha, Vata. So you've got two doshas which are dominant, or you can be a balance of all three. Now that bottom one of all three, that's a really, really rare combination, and there's probably like 1, 2, maybe 3 people in the world that will have that kind of constitution. So for everyone else, you'll be mainly a single or a dual dominant type. And then if you look at the chart here, so the goal of Ayurveda isn't to make someone equal Vata, Pitta, Kapha, 33, 33, 33. It's to make sure that we're living with this balance that we've been born with. So this person here might be 50% Pitta, 40% Vata, and 10% Kapha. And it's to make sure that they're staying in line with this. So their Pitta might go up, they might be really angry and hot-headed kind of people, and it's about just reducing that back down so they're in this balance. It will make sense in a minute as I go through all three. And so Ayurveda is really, really beautiful because we can break down Vata, Pitta, Kapha into how they manifest. So what are their attributes? They call them the gunas. So these are 10 pairs of opposite qualities. And so you've got hot, cold, oily, dry, heavy, light, and so on and so forth down the screen. And they're not one or the other. We're always somewhere in between, right? The world is in black and white. We're in some shade of grey somewhere most of the time. And it's like, where are we on this continuum of these qualities? And how can we identify these within ourselves in order to us to maintain balance and sanity? So if we look at the three doshas, so you've got Vata there. So the gunas associated with that are dry, light, cold, rough, sharp, mobile, subtle, hard, and clear. So to be honest, a bit like how it is outside. It's really windy, it's really dry, it's really cold. This is the Vata energy at the moment. And someone with a Vata type dosha, they might have things like dry skin and dry hair all the time, brittle nails, the hair can be brittle, falling out a lot of the time, cold hands and cold feet all the time. Especially for me, like it can be 30 degrees in the summer and I've still got cold hands and cold feet. Vata type people always talking all the time, talking. Sometimes they end up talking nonsense. You ask them, how are you? And they're telling you their life story 20, 30 minutes later. Always laughing, always joking around with people. It's got that ether and the air quality and the dryness and the coldness in the body. So sometimes people with this constitution might experience, bloating, constipation, quite a bit of gas, especially after eating, they feel really gassy. And their appetite can be unpredictable as well. So rather than having 3 meals a day, they might have like 4 or 5, and they like to snack on things, nuts and seeds and crisps and jeva and all of that stuff, constantly eating it. Small cups of tea all the time, and it's almost like it's a little bird just pecking at food all the time, constantly, and flying from one meal to the other. They tend to have like a thin and slender frame, so they tend to be petite. They can either be very short people or very tall. And they are light and irregular sleepers, often waking up during the night, often being anxious, worrying about things, that excessive mental energy, and they're often energetic and restless. And the best way to think about the Vata type energy is the little children running around all the time, who've got all this energy and just running here, there, everywhere, and you're like, oh my God, are they not going to go to sleep? They can be nervous people, and they also tend towards like fear and anxiety and things like this. Vata is very associated with like lots of mental energy and overthinking things and overcomplicating things, and sometimes being a little bit too paranoid, and the OCD comes into it as well, these kinds of things. But they are quick thinking, they're quick-witted people, quick thinking, hot on their stuff, they know their stuff. The trouble is they've got a very short memory. So as soon as we learn something, 2 minutes later we've forgotten it, and you're like, what were you talking about, kind of thing. This is the Vata type energy. And so Pitta is everything to do, just think of fire, anything to do with fire. So characteristics are oily, sharp, hot, light, unpleasant odor. So anything that smells badly, this is to do with pitta, mobile and liquid. So these kinds of people, everything to do with them is heat and inflammation in the body, always sweating all the time, even when it's like 10 degrees outside, they're boiling hot as well. But they're very intellectual people. They've got that fire energy. They've got that mental clarity within themselves, and they make for great leaders as well. So they're always at the top of the game, really, really successful people, really, really driven. You know, they know their stuff inside out, back to front. They do have perfectionist type tendencies as well. And, you know, this is Indian mum and dad syndrome, where, you know, you set a really high target for yourself, you know, it's really, you know, and they achieve 95% of it. And they're really hard on themselves because they didn't get that 100%. You know, it's like when your dad comes to you and, you know, you've got an A in maths and your dad says, why didn't you get an A star? You know, it's that kind of energy within, where it's like, this is the pit of the fire energy. Confident people, fearless, they'll get up in front of people and just talk. But they'll keep it really concise and really to the point, because they can't do with all the, I call it Vata type nonsense, where it's just like talking about nothingness. Pitta type people are straight to the point, you know, very sharp tongued. They don't mean things in an ill way to people, it's just the way that they are. They love comfort and they love luxuries, you know, being pampered, designer watches, 5-star hotels, this luxury lifestyle. They really love it. All the good foods, you know, they love the good wines and things like this, and the luxury foods, luxury products. This is the lifestyle that they like to live. On the pitta, one of the sites of pitta on the body is on the skin, so they tend to have the moles, the freckles, the acne, things like this, and the penetrating eyes. It's almost like a death stare looking at you. This is the pitta type energy. And then we got kapha. So kapha is made up of water and earth. So just think of, like, you know, when you go outside and you're in the garden, you know, the mud and the water mixed together. It's like that sticky, heavy quality. So it's cold, it's heavy and dense, it's oily, it's dull, it's slow, it's sticky, it's soft, it's, you know, it can be quite firm sometimes. And these people feel the cold easily. The thing with, like, so cold is shared with vata as well. So with vata, it's cold and dry. So you can think cold and dry with vata. Kapha is like cold and wet. So there's that distinction there between the coldness because of the dryness and the wetness. And kapha in the body is all to do with immunity. So kapha type people tend to have really, really good immunity just by their very own nature. And because they've got this biological strength and this vigor and this stability inside, actually they don't get ill very often, you know? They can go through life with really, really good strength, never going to see the doctor, never going to the hospital. But then when a kapha person does get out of balance and does get ill, that's when it all goes totally wrong, you know? It's the heart attack, the diabetes, the depression comes into it. These are all kapha type manifestations of our imbalance. And one of the sites of kapha is here in the heart, and sometimes people hold on to the emotions and the distress and the trauma really easily in the heart, and sometimes it's a build-up of energy there, and actually sometimes we just need to release that to be able to calm them down again. They are very calm and polite people, as it is anyway. The vata and the pitta people are always bickering and arguing with each other. The vata type person is egging the pitta person on. The pitta person is getting angry and hot-headed and wanting to lash out, and the kapha type person comes in and says, hey, you guys, calm down, let's break it up, you know? And this is the type of energy that the kapha person exudes. They have very, very, very good long-term memory. It takes them, kapha energy is quite slow, so it can take a long time to learn things. You know, I'm talking about physical and mental slowness here, so it can be slow to walk, slow to think, slow to act. It takes a long time to learn something, but once they've got it for life. A little bit like an elephant. An elephant is known for its good long-term memory, and you can think of kapha type people in this way. You know, they won't remember what you said to them yesterday, but they'll remember what you said to them, you know, on the 25th of December 1979 when you were having Christmas dinner, and they'll remember small comments like this. They have really, really good long endurance. So they can be quite athletic people because they've got that stamina and that endurance within to be able to do it. Very grounded. Trouble with a couple of people, we can be quite sedentary. We can sit down for long periods of time and not move a muscle. Complete opposite of a Vata and Pitta type person has to be up, has to be moving around, exercising all the time, doing this, that, and the other. Couple person can sit here for about 3 hours and just do nothing. This is the energy that they exude. And because it's that heavy quality, it's almost like the gravity is pulling them down. This is why Kapha type people they experience more of the sadness and the grief, and they hold on to it for long periods of time. Kapha's all to do with attachment, and they like collecting things. They like hoarding things as well. And so they get attached to things physically and emotionally. Emotional attachment to people, they grab onto them and don't want to let them go. Very polite, very forgiving people. And they tend to, Kapha type people tend to have that larger frame, they're kind of almost like that bigger bone type quality that they have. But they're all full of heart, they'll give their heart really easily to people. They won't question you for anything. They're always thinking about the other person. And this is classic Indian mum syndrome where, always thinking about the other person. Have you eaten? Have you drank? Do you want a samosa? Do you want langar? Do you want this? Do you want that? But then it comes into suffocation sometimes. And it's like that Kapha type person has to be aware of what they're doing. And sometimes it's like you're caring for them too much and that person hasn't got space to breathe. And then this is when the arguments come up with each other. So that's kind of a summary of Vata Pitta Kapha and how it manifests in us individually. And I haven't included it in here, but this we can talk about forever, because it's the basis of everything. And there's different sides of Vata Pitta Kapha in the body and things like this. And this is just a very, very short 10-minute summary of the doshas, but hopefully it makes sense. And if anyone's got any questions or not sure about anything, just shout out. I'm happy to take questions as we go. And so these doshas are dynamic. So in Ayurveda, we make a distinction between prakriti and vikruti. So prakriti is our natural state of being. So if you go back to this is somebody's natural state of being. They might be, let's just take the example of Pitta, they might be experiencing headaches, migraines, feeling hot all the time, things like colitis, inflammation in the gut, inflammation in the body, arthritis type symptoms, and their Pitta's gone up. And so what to 60%, and then Vata might come down to 30%. So this dynamic has changed. And what we try to address, Ayurvedic practitioners, doctors, massage therapists, whoever, it's rebalancing those doshas to bring them back down to your natural constitution. So whenever somebody comes to see me, it's like I'm looking at their imbalanced state, but I also have to take into account this, and I work out through asking you questions around diet, lifestyle, how your sleep is, energy levels, toilet habits, literally everything about your life, because this gives us a really, really good picture of who you are, but also gives us a distinction of what your imbalance is and how we can help you with that. We're impacted by a whole load of factors. So diet is a really, really big one. If we know, so Vata Pitta Kapha, we can categorize the foods in this way as well. So we know what foods are Pitta, what foods are Vata, what foods are Kapha, and depending on our imbalance, we advise what foods to avoid and what foods to enjoy based on that. Making sure we're eating fresh, organic, healthy foods, cooked, every day or two. Avoiding the processed foods, the ultra-processed foods. This can have a massive impact on us internally and on our health and our gut health. Lifestyle, jobs. Everyone's stressed in their jobs, I don't know anyone who isn't. I was in that place 4 or 5 years ago where I was completely stressed. My Pitta was up out of the roof. I was sad, I was angry, I was depressed, I was anxious, I was literally everything. And I was like, this isn't healthy anymore. And, we have to really kind of take stock of what we're doing, do a little bit of exercise in the morning, some gentle stretches, or go swimming, or you go for a walk in the sunshine like this at the moment, and just doing these simple 5-minute practices can help you so much. We're impacted by our environment. So at the moment, we're between the seasons. We've gone from summer to autumn. We've gone from the heat to the wind. And this has a massive, massive impact on us, where the external is impacting the internal. So we have to be sensible now. We have to put on warm clothing. We have to make sure the air conditioning isn't up too high. We have to make sure we cover our heads to avoid the wind and the cold affecting the brain and everything like this. And time is a really interesting one. Ayurveda says, they said 5,000 years ago, adapt it for the time that you're living in. So it's like almost they could foresee, a change in the way we live and way we eat, and how this might impact things. And when I advise people on things, I'm really, really practical about it. I'm not go live in the mountain for 2 years and do some chanting. It's like, what can we change in your everyday life? The small things that will make the big difference. And often it's the remedies and things that help people to give them that clarity of thought and give them some physical relief, whatever they're facing. Does that make sense about the doshas? Is it clear? Yeah? You can say no, I don't mind. So we'll have a look now a little bit about gut health.
Sorry, Harry, how do we work out what our natural state is?
So I do have a quiz that I can send to people. The best way I do it is forget Vata Pitta Kapha for a minute and see which things in this you identify in this list here. So do you experience heat or cold more? Are you someone who likes the summer or likes the winter? And I always think in the opposite. So if I like the winter, it's because I'm hot already inside and I like the coldness outside, so I'm trying to find natural balance. Pitta people hate the summer because it's aggravating the heat inside all the time, and it's like they can't deal with it. And you'll find the place where you'll find them is skiing. So if you enjoy skiing in cold environments, then you're more likely a Pitta type person. If you like the heat more, you can be either Vata or Kapha, because Vata and Kapha are both cold. And so then we have to look at some other things. So do you like oily or do you like dry food? A Vata type person is going to like oily food and sweet foods a lot more because they're trying to balance out that dryness inside of them. So it does require like a little bit of thinking about. And like, if anybody wants to email me or call me and just find out a little bit, I'm happy to have that conversation even afterwards. Like we can talk about that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you might have said it. Do we get a copy of? Do we get this presentation? Do we get the slides?
I can.
It's actually being YouTubed live,
right, okay.
so you can go to the GNGC YouTube.
Even better deal.
Watch it.
That's great. Thank you.
You can't ever lose it now. It's on the internet forever. So yeah, it does require some actual like real deep thinking. And it's like just observe yourself in the everyday, and it's like, do I like spicy foods or do I like bland food? Pitta type person is going to tend towards like the bland food to rebalance themselves, whereas the Kapha type person needs a bit of that heat because they need to get going. They need a bit of that, that rocket fuel because they are sedentary and they can tend towards the laziness. And there's various other quizzes there. Pakati does one as well. It's like 3 questions on there. So there's a few things out there, but when you're doing it, just be careful because this is where you need to go and see a practitioner or a doctor to be able to tell them, look, this is your natural state and this is your imbalanced state. So it does take quite a bit of understanding and training. Does that help? So gut health. So they knew 5,000 years ago, even before these doctors and scientists came along today, that all disorder is caused by low digestive fire in the gut, an imbalance of the microbiome. How did they know that 5,000 years ago, So let's have a look. Why? So normal path of digestion, we eat something, rice and dal or jalebi from the langar hall downstairs, samosa, whatever. Comes in, we take it in through the mouth, digestion starts happening in the mouth. Well, sometimes people say, my mother tells me, digestion starts happening with your eyes when you first look at the food. And actually, you've already started to digest it in that way. Enters the mouth, into the stomach, into the small intestine, into the large intestine, and out. Right? Everyone good with that? But there's more. So what does Ayurveda say? So we talk about this thing called Agni. So Agni is the digestive fire in the gut. And so it's what we might call today digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid in the stomach, pepsin, renin, everything that the liver and the kidneys and the liver and the pancreas and the spleen are producing in terms of digestive enzymes. Sometimes in Ayurveda they use really broad terms for things, and they didn't have the same language that we have today. So it's kind of like we have to really think about what it is they're trying to tell us. And the main site is in the stomach and the small intestine. So this is where everything is being cooked basically by the fire in our gut. And this is the gateway to everything. If this is not correct, then we're going to experience all the disorders that there are, the skin disorders, the arthritis, the mental health issues. Any disorder is all coming back to here, to the gut. Out of everything we eat, only 5% of that is converted into nutrition. 95% of that leaves the body in feces, urine, or sweat. We're eating all this food just for 5% of it. And so through this process of digestion, that 5%, we then go through what Ayurveda calls the second stage of digestion. And this is where the tissues are formed. And so here we can start to connect the dots as to why the digestion is the key to everything. So once we've got that 5% of nutrition, then it starts getting converted into the tissues in the body. So this is a logical, chronological process. So first we get plasma, and then out of that plasma comes the blood. Out of the blood comes the muscle, then the fat, then the bone marrow, then the reproductive tissues. So they call it Saptadhatu, so 7 tissues are formed, and it takes 5 days between each of these to be formed. So blood is formed 5 days after plasma, muscle is formed 5 days after blood, and so on and so forth. So we've got a 35-day cycle here. And so this all began here with the gut and digesting the food properly. And if we don't digest the food properly, we have this thing called ama, which is toxins. Its literal meaning just means undigested food. And that can be undigested physical food, it can be undigested thoughts, emotions, because digestion isn't just happening here, it's also happening here, the eyes and the brain and everything all together. And so after we've got to the reproductive tissue, so after maybe 35, 40 days, we get something produced called ojas. Now we're going from the physical to the non-physical. We're going to something that we can't see. In the text, they say it was 8 drops. This is just a measure of what they thought it was. And ojas is everything to do with immunity and being able to ward off these any disorder. It's our vigor, it's our stamina, it's our ability to deal with stress. And this all comes as an end product of this, which started with the digestion. So this shows why digestion is really key, because what it's doing is helping us to produce this immunity at the end. This immunity then goes on to feed the heart and then the brain. And now what we've got here is one representation of the mind-body connection together. And it all started with what we put in our mouth and how our digestion was working. So it's really important to take care of your gut health, what you're eating, what you're thinking, because at the end of all of this, you're producing your own immunity. You're producing your own ability to withstand distress and disorder and anything it might be. And so it's really important that we cultivate good gut health. And we cultivate that through knowing our daughters and what to eat and what not to eat, as well as making sure that the Agni is working through, herbs and spices that we've got in our cupboards at home, which we'll come on to in a minute. So what happens when the gut health is not working correctly? It's going to lead to this formation of ama, toxins in the body. And how do we know if we're producing that? Do you feel tired after you're eating? Do you feel any bloating? Do you feel any constipation? Do you feel like you need to run to the toilet afterwards? It's things like this. Or do you feel really good? Do you feel light? Do you feel like you've got good clarity of mind? Do you feel like you've got lots of energy? This is indications of the gut health working as it should be. And not to be too graphic here, but I do tell people to look in the in the toilet after they've been. Is there any undigested food in there? How does it look? Is it sticky or did it come out nicely? These are all really good indications of how the body is working. And if there are toxins there, it can stay in the GI tract, and this is where we experience things like the IBS, the colitis, all the digestive type symptoms like this, the bloating, the diarrhea, the constipation, or the toxins can then start traveling into these tissues here, and that's where we get the skin disorders, the heat in the blood, the muscles not working correctly, the spasms and things like this, building up too much fat, arthritis, everything is because the toxins have moved from the gut into the tissues. And just some other causes of toxins according to Ayurveda, so improper digestion. So what we mean by that is not leaving enough time between meals. So they say you should leave at least 3 to 4 hours before having your meals to allow the body to properly digest the food that is coming in, because body's already producing one particular type of enzymes in the gut to produce your first meal. If it hasn't finished doing that and you're eating something different for your second meal, the gut's then confused. You're like, oh no, what's going on here now? What are you giving me? Incompatible foods, fish and milk, 2 different types of proteins in the same meal together. Milk and sour foods is not a good combination. So milk and fruit together is not good. It causes coagulation and fermentation in the gut. And this is where we get all the acid and acid reflux coming up, because the body can't produce the different enzymes it needs for all the different foods we put into the body so quickly. Processed foods, emotional stress, air pollution is a big thing. Pesticides on our food products, and I've got some insight into that from my previous career. Pharmaceutical products, synthetic skincare products, EMFs, so mobile phones, Wi-Fi, 5G, all this radiation and everything, all impacts upon the body and the digestion and the gut and our sense of well-being. So how do we maintain this balance and overall health? So avoiding the incompatible foods. Now I've told you don't eat milk and fish and don't eat milk and fruit together. Don't do it, because now this is your crime against wisdom. You've got the knowledge now, and if you do it, this is, you're creating your own distress. Avoiding contaminated and old food. Often you can smell food when it's gone off and it's not good for you, so don't eat it. Ayurveda always says to favor the warm and the cooked foods, and showing we've got a balance of taste in there, and all the spices and things we've got in our cupboards at home contribute to that. So continue doing that and just making sure we're not having the incompatible foods. Eating the right amount of food, so making sure we're not overfilling ourselves. So roughly 1/4 to 1/3 should be food in the stomach, 1/4 to 1/3 should be water, and then 1/4 to 1/3 left empty for the body to be able to digest all of that. Eat locally and seasonally, drinking the right amounts of water. Sometimes we're not drinking enough, sometimes we're drinking too much. Getting the right amount of sleep is also good. Walking barefoot, making that connection with the earth, and there's lots of research into grounding and the science behind making that connection with the earth. Being in nature is a big one, and digital detox. Leave your phone in a drawer somewhere, especially overnight. Don't sleep with it next to your head, and just doing mindfulness and meditation practices, and that can just be sitting down with a cup of tea after you've had your dinner. That's the mindfulness and meditation practice for me, and really concentrating on how you made the tea. How did you put the tea bag in the cup? How much sugar did you put in? How many times did you stir it to the right? How many times did you stir it to the left? This is all ways we can cultivate our own personal meditation practice.
Quick question. When it says eat the right amount of food, problem is you keep eating, and if something's nice, you'll just keep eating until you physically can't have any more. How do you stop that? I mean, you say you've got to allow some space. It's like the Japanese say, I think, eat 80%,
Yeah.
then leave 20% of space in your stomach.
Yeah, same
allow
concept.
your food to digest.
Yeah.
How do you do? Is that practice? I guess.
It's practice. It's discipline. It's sometimes we have to go into the yogic side of Ayurveda, and it's all about that self-control.
Right.
And being able to say to someone, sorry, I know you're being hospitable to me, but I'm actually quite full now. You know, and it's just that constant practice of it and being disciplined with yourself and making that connection with yourself to know.
If you pour a plate of food for yourself,
yeah,
then take out 20% of it.
yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know you can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to consciously be aware of only take 80% of what you think you're going to eat.
Yeah.
Allow 20% for you to digest.
Yeah.
Space for your body to digest the food, right?
Yeah. And the other way of addressing it, and I'm probably giving away my cheat codes now. I haven't included it in here, but in Ayurveda we've got 6 days: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, astringent. And sometimes we're overeating because we want more of that sweet, sour, salty taste. And especially here in the West, and probably not so much for the community here, because we use a lot of spices which have the bitter, the pungent, astringent, you know, the jeera, the dhania, the hing, things like this. This is what balances it out. And sometimes it's like the tongue has too much of this sweet, sour, salty sensation. And sometimes with the herbal formulations I have, I tell them to take it, and automatically they then take it, and they're like, I actually don't want that size portion anymore. Because we're resetting the body's innate knowing to know how much food to eat, because it's got that balance of tastes again.
Right.
And the bitter, pungent, astringent also activates the enzymes in the gut. And so just by including these things in our diet a little bit more and reducing some of those sweet, sour, you know, the greasy, the oily, the fatty foods, things like this, which, you know, we want more of, because it's triggering the dopamine levels in the brain and the body. Just by balancing it out, by including some of those spices, we can counteract it. So it's a mix of that few different things.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, no, it does. Thank you.
Can you also talk about hot and cold food? So the naturally hot, cold food, because I grew up hearing about it, but how does that affect what you should eat according to your dosha?
So hot foods would be things like chili, anything that's acidic, so like tomatoes. So if you're having any inflammation or anything like that in the body, first 2 things to cut out: chili and tomatoes. I think that's everyone's subject gone out the window, right? What are the hot foods? So mustards are hot, vinegars, anything that's really kind of been like processed or ultra processed. I personally class it as a hot food because it's stimulating that inflammation response in the body. Cold foods would be things like dairy products. Coriander is a really like good cold food to have. Green leafy vegetables, fruits and vegetables, things like that. That's all cold foods. And sometimes this is a good practice as well. After you've eaten something, you determine how you feel. Do you feel hot after you've eaten it, or do you feel cold? Because sometimes there's a disparity in the food sometimes, and different people will tell you different things. One might say like dhania is hot, and someone might say it's cold. And sometimes you have to make this distinction for yourself because it acts differently in different people's bodies. I'm just trying to think. Like grains would be cold foods as well, like especially the ancient grains, less of the wheat and the oats, but the more like the millets and things like this are cold foods. Alcohol would be a hot food. Yeah, mustards, vinegars, things like this. Yeah, from what I can think of at the top of my head. Andy.
So just following on from that, so on there you've got favour warm cooked food.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean warm in the way that you just described these foods? Because I was confused. You're saying.
I mean, warm is in temperature warm. Okay. Yeah.
Good. And then you were saying about so avoid things like tomatoes, chilies, mustard, vinegar if you have inflammation. Interesting.
We'll do one remedy in a minute to balance that.
Do you realise that knocks out the majority of our Indian?
Yep. Yep.
Recently, they were saying how beneficial tomatoes are on the BBC. And there was a big thing about the vitamins that are in tomatoes. We throw so much away every year. But they were saying the nutrients in tomatoes is, I think they were making a discovery about vitamin D. And that's something that now they're saying tomatoes are very rich in nutrients.
So, yeah. And what I ask people to do is be very discerning about everything. Don't always believe everything you see or hear from somebody. If you've experienced it, the best way to learn is to experience it yourself. And I don't think I've included it in here. Ayurveda goes into much, much, much more detail around how foods affect the body. So we have something called a post-digestive effect. And so after the food has been through everything, through the whole process in the gut, what effect does that have on the body at the end of it? And this is something that I've not found anywhere else. And partly I'm like, how did they know all this stuff 5,000 years ago without any of this technology that we have today? And somebody told me, I can't remember who it was, they said, when tomatoes were first introduced to India and Sri Lanka, they were using it to wash the pots and pans with because it was so acidic. It was the only thing that would clean everything. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what somebody told me. But because tomatoes are acidic, anything acidic produces inflammation in the body, and it's upsetting the acid-alkali balance. Right. And actually, this is a very good segue into my first remedy. One way to pacify the heat in the body is through coriander. And I made some coriander water. So maybe we can try some. Don't know how many people we've got. 1, 2, 3. I'll just pour some and then I'll come round. So coriander water, so let me go back one. Coriander will be your best friend in the kitchen. If you're a pitta type person, if you've got heat, inflammation, anything like this. So it quenches the thirst, hydrates the body. It's useful in all the seasons, so you don't just have to use it in the summer. You can use it in the winter as well. And these are all things according to Ayurvedic knowledge. Deepena Panchana, so we mean this is good for the gut, balancing the gut fire, helping to correct the Agni. Any swelling, it can help with that because it's a diuretic. So it's helping to remove any toxins from the body.
So it's a dry coriander, yeah?
So coriander seed, I'll show you actually how to make it. Excuse me. Feeling hot. Feeling hot. You just take 3 teaspoons of seeds, crush it, and then 3 teaspoons of seeds, crush the seeds just so they open, don't make a powder or anything. Soak it in a glass of water overnight, and in the morning take out the seeds and drink the water first thing on an empty stomach. And this will, don't take it in the afternoon or evening, because you'll be going to the toilet in the night time. And this is really good to help support the kidneys and everything and flush out the...
You say going to the toilet for a week?
Yeah. Sometimes it does make people go for the number 2.
So Harry,
Yeah.
can anyone have that regardless of what version?
Yeah, anyone can have it.
Thank you.
Come this way. Because it's got cold properties, sometimes, especially for Vata type people or Kapha type people, and I had this issue as well, sometimes it can bring on like runny nose, cough, cold, scratchy throat, because it's too cold for Vata and a couple of people who are already cold, so it's exacerbating that. And so I've got a different one, which we can try afterwards if people do experience that. But things like UTIs and urinary infections, things like that, it's good for. Menopausal women love it. Premenopausal women love it because it takes out the heat, the hot flushes and everything like that.
And children can have this as well.
Yeah. For children, you might want to do like one and a half teaspoons or something like that. And sometimes in the morning, at the moment, it can be really cold, the water. So you can just top it up with a little bit of boiled water or something like that.
That's nice. Thank you. Thank you, Bocci.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, I think so. Does this come for information as well?
Yeah, really good information. So I give this remedy to almost everyone because everyone's got some sort of inflammation or toxin buildup in the body. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so this is just like a standard remedy.
Probably even for those children who have nosebleeds, because there's that heat in the body.
Yeah.
So you can have this every day?
Yep.
Does it help with acid reflux as well?
Yeah, very good for acid reflux. Any acidity, any inflammation. Sometimes people would like arthritis as well because there's inflammation in the joints. They find it really good because also it's taking out. In Ayurveda, it's like there's toxins stuck in the joint, and it's like dislodging that sometimes as well, and that's what helps.
What is the best remedy for inflammation in terms of seeds?
Coriander seeds.
Just coriander.
Yeah.
And turmeric?
No. Don't do turmeric. Turmeric produces a lot of heat in the body.
Yeah.
And Ayurvedically, they don't use turmeric like this.
Okay.
And especially when we cook, we put the haldi in the sabji, right? And how much do you put in? Maybe half a teaspoon for 4 people? Because also Ayurveda has to... I've got one for you as well.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Is there enough for everyone?
Yeah. It's plenty. I've got some here. I've got some more here.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You got one. So yeah, it's a painkiller as well, so good, especially for menstrual pain. Good for the eyes, helps to clean out the eyes, disinfect the bladder, so people have like kidney. Sometimes you have to be a little bit careful if you've got kidney issues. Better to seek advice from someone, but it can help to clear out that as well.
Quick question. So if you start doing this every morning,
Mm-hmm.
how long do you do this until you actually feel something or notice something? Just out of interest.
A day or two, people start feeling a difference. Yeah.
It's not like you have to do it for a month before you notice something.
No.
Is there a certain amount to drink? Is it like a cup?
About like 200 mils, something like that.
It's cold water.
Yeah, cold water. Don't put it in the fridge overnight, just leave it out. Yeah.
Would it harm the effect if you heat it up or if you brew it?
I'll give you a different recipe. I got a different one for you.
Just to be absolutely sure. Yeah. So when you say leave it overnight, just in a regular ceramic cup.
Yeah. I just put a plate on top.
And just put a plate.
Yeah. Yeah, desi style. Yeah.
Well, no, desi style would be put it in a copper container.
Yeah, you can do that.
But I just wanted to ask.
Just put it in I just have a glass like that basically and just leave it, and then put the plate on top.
Thanks, buddy.
So if people do feel, this might be easier actually. if people do feel the cold, especially with this version, we can switch to the tea version. So this one, you don't need to soak it overnight. You just take 3 teaspoons of the recipe's on my website as well. So if you go on the website and click on the recipe link, they're there as well. So this one, you don't soak it overnight. You just
Make a thermos full and keep it.
make a thermos full and keep it.
I think while you're putting that, can you remind us what your website is?
Anandaveda, ANANDAVEDA .co.uk. I've got leaflets as well with the info on it.
And so this you can have anytime?
Yeah.
Isn't ginger warming though?
Yeah, so ginger is warming, Dania is cooling, so they balance each other out.
The ginger has also good.
Yeah, it's really good for the gut.
It's good
Yeah.
for the gut. It's good for if you have a cough, cold, etc.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want a job?
Trust me, I've grown up with a mother who has never ever given us paracetamol.
That's
I think
it,
the amount
that's
of
it.
times I give my kids paracetamol, I never remember my parents ever giving me paracetamol. It was always healthy, ginger,
Yeah.
ajwan, all that worked together.
Warm, yeah. Yeah. You wanted a warm one?
Well, I was just querying.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Just in case.
Thank you. Thanks.
there's something wrong.
So that's coriander and ginger tea.
Yeah. And if you want, you can add a little bit of sugar, a little bit of honey into it if you like it like that.
So this is still okay if you got pitta emotion,
Yeah.
which is it. And I'm the opposite. And so our meals are not working.
You're more vata, is it?
I'll say I'm more kapha.
I'm a puffer.
And he's definitely
It's a good combination.
Well, no, because
Right?
I put a lot of like tomatoes and stuff because I'm cold.
Yeah.
I always want loads of chilies because I'm always cold. And he will get different.
Yeah.
So I'm causing his gut problems.
He'll have to make his own dinner.
Yeah, that's it.
Really important with this one. You make it fresh each day. Better not to make a batch and like leave it in the fridge or something, because there's lots of like volatile compounds in the dania, and these will just you'll lose the benefit basically if you make a batch, because of like the oily compounds in it. So this one just 3 teaspoons. Yeah.
Dalchini.
Mm.
How can we use that? Or where can we? When can we? Drinking? Make a brew like this?
Yeah, you can do it with like do the same, but instead of the coriander, use that.
Any side effects?
And the thing is, with these things, the home remedies, there's not that many side effects because it's very low dosage. Yeah, sometimes like I know if you like on blood pressure medication or things like this, sometimes you have to just check with your doctor about it, just to make sure there's no like contraindications or anything like that. It's better to speak to them first if you're taking any medication like this. If you're not, then it's fine.
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry. With the coriander, you're trying to obtain the cold benefits. With the ginger, you've got the heat. You put them together, do they not just cancel each other out? Balance.
It's not about cancelling, it's about maintaining that balance, because Ayurveda is all about balance. And if you're just taking the ginger, actually, and you'll find like in a lot of the Ayurvedic medicines, there's not just one thing in there, there's a whole raft of things, because they're all working together to balance each other out. So what you don't want to do is increase too much heat in the body, and then we start creating some negative effect, more inflammation, because ginger is heating. We need to balance it out with something cooling. And this is why, like somebody's talking about haldi earlier, haldi always goes together with milk. The haldi is heating, the milk is cooling. So we're balancing out any negative effects of the two. So it's not cancelling them out. It's like they're being married together, basically.
And what's this tea good for?
So the same as the coriander water. Sometimes it's just, sometimes the cold version is too cold for some people, and we need to do the boiled version. This is also good for like cough, cold, flu, anything like with all those winter type symptoms. If you're having like really bad cold and flu symptoms, you can do the same. Add 3 cloves of garlic into it and a teaspoon of black peppercorns. This is like a nice little flu bomb to get rid of all of that. And then you can eat the garlic afterwards. 1 teaspoon black peppercorn and 3 cloves of garlic. Trust me, it works.
Was that hot or cold?
Hot version, yeah. And this is really good for like pain as well.
And the garlic, you just crush the garlic.
No, just peel it and put it in the padilla.
Chronic pain.
Whole up.
Just 3 cloves, not the whole
No,
bulb.
whole bulb, but the cloves.
Yeah. Because it will soften when you boil it.
Yeah.
And then you can eat this one afterwards.
And you boil it for 6 to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Same amount of time with the garlic in there as well.
Yeah.
So you get garlic breath afterwards.
Yeah. But you'll thank me when all those flu and cold symptoms go away. I know your pain's gone. A few minutes of trouble for long-term gain. And if you want, you can add like a little bit of sugar or a little bit of honey in it, but I like it as it is. Yeah, this one. So this one is ginger, lime, and honey.
Can I ask, maybe not, are any of you good for like chronic pain, like sciatica?
The coriander and ginger with the garlic and black pepper will help.
Two. There's 2 different coriander and ginger.
Yeah, with the garlic and black pepper.
For all 4 of them together?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Would you like some? Ginger, lime, and honey?
Oh, go on. I'll be a... Thank you. That's a different one?
Different one, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll try this one.
Can you tell us a little bit about what this is good for?
This one is also good for...
Thank you, Baji. Very kind of you. Thank you.
This one is good for if you've got any mucus, any phlegm, anything like this is coming up during the winter. So it's the one before, the coriander and ginger tea, it's okay if you've got like dry kind of cough symptoms. This one is more if you've got like wet, lots of mucus, phlegm coming up like this. So the ginger is good for the gut. The lime is cooling and will help to dissolve the mucus. And then the honey is there just to provide the balance of all the taste together. And honey is also there to help soothe any inflammation in the throat. It is, isn't it?
Amazing. Yes.
Can I just ask, you said 6 limes. Does it have to be limes or could it be lemons? Normally in these recipes you say lemons.
Yeah, no, limes is better because limes is cooling, lemons is heating.
Okay, right.
They have different properties.
Right.
Yeah. And so what we're trying to do with this one is the limes are there to help dissolve the mucus and provide cooling as well.
Right.
So especially like people get like, basically all 3 doshas are there.
Yeah.
The dryness is there with the vata, the inflammation is there, pitta, and then the wetness, the mucus and everything there is kapha.
Yeah.
And so these 4 ingredients are there just to help calm all of them down together.
But I'm prepared to try and make an effort to do some of these things because I was
Thank you
thinking
so
of
much.
ginger.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you know what you're doing? You're spoiling us.
That's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
Anything that helps you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you. The last.
Last one, yeah. Please, do you want some more? I'll have to go home and come back and make it.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking so that we may keep the glass.
Sorry, dripping everywhere.
That's all right. It's good. Thank you.
So this one, 100 grams of fresh ginger, peel it, just chop it roughly. And then I do this in a blender because I'm lazy with it and it's just so much easier. The original recipe said to grate the ginger and everything. I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Can you just go for it once?
Yeah.
Talk it through, please. Thank you.
So peel the ginger, 100 grams of ginger, and just roughly chop it. So it fits in the blender. And then 6 limes. You take the juice out of the lime and then just put this in the blender as well. And then I top it up with maybe like 150 mils of water just so it blends nicely. And then pass that mixture through a sieve and really squeeze out all the juice from the pulp. You'll get a lot out of it. And then I just add 6 teaspoons of honey, 3 teaspoons of sugar, sometimes use jaggery, and then just top it up with the rest of the water. And then what you can do is, so you can batch make this one. So you can make the full batch, keep it in the fridge for a few days, and then take maybe like same amount I put in the cup, and then just top it up with some hot water, and then better to take this one after meals, because it's what we call more Amapachana properties, so more detoxifying, and this will help any.
After dinner.
Yeah, you can have after lunch, after dinner.
Or after evening.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can keep it in the fridge for up to a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
It probably won't last a week.
It doesn't have the coriander.
Yeah. This is a different one. Yeah. So there's a ginger, lime, honey, and a little bit of sugar.
And again, back to what type of honey you use? Because we use like Manuka honey. Just any honey.
Save yourself a lot of money and buy local honey.
Yeah.
Much better for you. Because you're living in an environment where this pollen exists and the natural surroundings, and it's better to do this. Manuka honey comes all the way from New Zealand. If you're living in New Zealand, I would say have the Manuka honey. If you're living here, have the local honey. There's loads of really good local suppliers. I get one from Busy Bees. I think they come to Camberley Market as well, actually. Yeah, I find they're quite good.
And if you're increasing the quantity, say you're making it like 2-3 people, does that mean you increase the amount of ingredients?
I would make one batch of it and see how you get on with it, because you only... Yeah, this you'll end up with maybe like, what have I got in there? I had maybe half of that, which was like half a litre, and then I topped it up with hot water. So you'll get basically double out of that already when you top it up with water. Otherwise, it's quite strong when it comes out. And sometimes, like, also it depends on the size of the limes. Sometimes you when you go Tesco, Sainsbury's, there's the tiny piddly ones. Like I went to Quality in Southall and they were like the huge ones, you know. So also just sometimes you might need to do like 3 or 4 limes, and especially like sometimes people have sensitive teeth as well. So just reduce the limes because it's the acidity affecting that. Yeah, so suitable for cough, cold, any excess mucus, anything like that. Thank you. And then I just wanted to, just 2 minutes, if I have it, just with cumin. So Gina is like one of your best friends for helping the digestion. And we've got the way so you can take a picture. All kinds of digestive issues, bloating, constipation, IBS, anything like this. Really, really helps with that. You know, liver disorders, you've got bad breath or anything like that, like chewing a bit of Gina. It's a really, really good painkiller as well. Things like heavy bleeding. So same we did for the Dhania water. You can do jeera water, 3 teaspoons. If you've got anything like cramping, menstrual pain, anything like this, heavy bleeding, really, really, really good for that. Actually, the jeera is better for the pain than the dhania.
So is it good for inflammation as well? Or does it not tackle inflammation?
Dhania is probably better, yeah. Though in the formulated medicines, there's like some sort of jeera in there because it's good for the digestion. Yeah.
You can combine the both.
You can, yeah, and sometimes, yeah, and sometimes like with these things, it's all about your own intuition. Yeah. When you open the cupboard, you'll know which masala you need to put in there.
If you did happen to pound the dhania and then heat it up, because I feel, and obviously put some cumin.
If you want to do a hot version, you don't need to crush it. You just put it in whole.
Okay. But would you get better effects if it was crushed?
No, not when you heat it.
Okay. I was interested when you said to use the coriander seeds and not fresh coriander. So I'm just wondering, like...
coriander seeds are cooling. Okay. Dhania leaves are heating.
Oh, interesting.
Normally at this point I leave the room. And sometimes that's the thing, it's like, now I've given you that information, when you have something like that, like dhania leaves, just see for yourself how you feel afterwards. This is the best way to learn about these things. Yeah, good for new mothers, any skin disorders, anything like that. What have I got on here? Oh yeah, so I haven't made this remedy, but like you can do jeera powder. Basically, just take the jeera, roast it in the pan until it goes light, and then cool down a little bit, and then just grind it. And then so you can make a batch of this one as well, and then mix 1 teaspoon of the powder with half a teaspoon of honey, and you can have this twice a day before meals, so like before lunch, dinner.
It can be grounded jeera.
Yeah. I tend to make my own because sometimes you don't know what they put in these packets. Like I always get the whole spices. And if you diabetic, blood sugar levels, anything like this, better to leave out the honey and just have it with like warm water or something. And then the other one you can do, this one is better for children because sometimes the jeera taste is too strong for them. You can make the syrup. So boil the cumin seeds in 6 cups of water and then reduce this down to about 2 cups and then add in 200 grams of sugar and 2 tablespoons of honey. And this one is like a cough syrup mixture as well as good for the digestion and making it a little bit more palatable for children.
Have you ever heard of ajwan?
Yeah, very good.
We grew up with
that.
My mum used to boil that when we had coughs and colds and put black pepper and she used to make and leave it as well overnight and constantly.
Yeah, this is a good one as well.
So is that a good thing?
Yeah. You can do the ajwan water. Like even when my nephew has like got cough or colic or anything like this, we give them the ajwan water. Yeah. All these things that you guys know, your mothers know, your grandmothers know, they're all the correct things. Sometimes it's like we just don't understand why they were doing it. Yeah. Thank you. Any more questions?
No, thank you. It's been really good.
You're welcome. So all the recipes are on my website, Andy.
Sorry, I just need to ask a bit of a technical question.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are certain conditions in today's time which have dramatically increased. For example, cholesterol, blood pressure, diabetes, even conditions like eye conditions like glaucoma, cataract. How does your system of treating this? I understand you need to establish the type of dosa you're